to go down below or something.
Wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it and be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here. Hashtag Grr Mondays.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
It's the Al Travis Show, and if luck will have it, we've got the barbecue show going on. We've got 3 radio guys trying to make technology work, and that's always a crapshoot. Do we have you, gentlemen? How you doing today?
Oop. I don't know. Do you have us? That's the question.
I've got you. It's funny because just one of the 2 Jakes is actually on. The others are all muted, but I see you.
Let's just say this is radio over here, and the video part is just beyond us. But you know what? Most people are listening on their car, so it doesn't matter.
I see you fine. You're doing well. So thank you guys for joining me today. How you doing, Jake? How you doing, Stunt Monkey?
Good.
We're excellent. Thanks for having us, as always. We do appreciate it.
No, our pleasure. I think October, this is pork month or something like that. Do you guys like follow that stuff? Is it just an excuse to go into the whole let's do pork regime, or is it just something nice you talk about it? I'm a pork guy, but I don't necessarily just do it because it's October.
Well, yeah, I do pork all year round, but it's fun to do a few things special. We'll talk on the show this next month. We'll talk a few different things, pork, our favorite pulled pork recipe, possibly your ribs. We're going to talk with Pam from the Minnesota Pork Board this weekend. So we'll dive into it a little bit more, but it doesn't change. We're usually doing pork no matter what. So.
Right.
Well, pork, if I'm not mistaken, I could be completely wrong. Maybe fish, I guess I would throw in there. Isn't pork of all the meats the one that accepts the smoking the best? You can really change a flavor on it. You put a pork loin down and you let that sit in there, it just sucks up that flavor. A little different than steak. I'm not ripping steak. It's a little harder in my opinion. And fish does. I guess you're a cheeser, right, Jake? So, maybe that does. Does pork not the meat that takes the smoke the best?
I think it's definitely one of the best for sure. Chicken is a great one for that as well. I think you can really alter the flavor of your pork with smoke more than you can with a lot of other meats.
That's what I was saying.
I think that's probably the best way to put it, so to speak.
Would you agree with that, Stunt?
Yeah, I think they all can take, depending on how you're going to do it. I think pork is the most changeable, if anything else.
Mm-hmm.
They all accept smoke. A good brisket will take smoke all day long, but or pork, you really change the palate of pork by the way you smoke it.
That's true.
Is that a good word? Palate? Like that?
Palate? Yeah,
that's
I think
a
that's
big
a good
word.
way to say it. What was I going to say?
I was going to ask you guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The other thing about Applewood or whatever, you're going to just keep talking over me. These guys are crushing me. Now I've got Jake on here 4 times.
I don't know why you just started video.
What's going on here?
I got 2 videos of Jake. I got a still picture, very nice. Looks like he's doing the thinker pose. I got you guys all over the place. It's fine.
You get one from up above.
We don't see the background stuff. Here's my thought with the pork, and maybe back to I'm not trying to rip the beef people, but you can get so much pork per pound to grill compared to other meats. That's why I think I like it so much. Like I say, you put a pork loin on, 2.5 foot of pure pleasure, baby, just sitting on the grill waiting to be eaten. Am I lying?
No, you're right.
You nailed it right there. You nailed it for sure. There's something about, plus you can put things in the pork loin, a tenderloin or a pork loin. You can stuff it and really take it to another level. A lot of folks like to do that with pork chops. I'm not as much of a fan of whenever I go to a butcher shop and say I want thick pork chops, I want them 1 3/4, 2 inches. Obnoxiously thick. And they always ask, "Well, you want us to butterfly those for you?" And that's just not my thing with the pork chop. Right. I don't know. What about you, Stunt?
No, I don't. I want a pork chop to be more than an inch seems a little aggressive, but for me, but still, I want a good thick pork chop. We're gonna put that on. I don't need it butterflied. I don't need to stuff it. And if by the way, butterfly it for me. What would be the point of that if I'm gonna?
You're gonna cut it in half.
Have it be that thin in the first place. Then
right. Well, it's most pork recipes when they're talking about like a pork loin that's stuffed, they will tell you to hammer it thinner. Well, the Italians love to do that with everything, but and then because it allows you to cook the inside of what you're doing better as well. If your pork is too thick and you've got things in it, what's in it will not cook.
Right.
So that's the danger also of like stuffing in a turkey.
How come the pork burger didn't catch on like the hamburger? It just doesn't seem to hold the same. You get a pork patty, they do make them, but it's usually got Italian seasoning or something in it. Can you just not make a pork hamburger?
Well, sure you can, but it's going to be a lot like a turkey patty. It just by itself, it just doesn't carry.
Hang. Okay.
It just doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't hang very well. You need that pork and you need the pork fat to make your burger or anything else good that way. But by itself, just ground pork would be. It would be a little dry. The pork, the fat's a little bit different. It won't. Pork fat doesn't. What's the word I'm looking for? Bind and coagulate the same as like
Coagulate's definitely not it. I don't think.
No,
that
sounds like curdled blood thing.
Well,
I don't think that's it.
But it's science, you guys. Come on, what are you guys afraid of
Is
science?
this CSI or the barbecue show? I'm not looking for DNA prints here. What the heck? Okay, fine. Let me ask you this because I love the pork people. The pork people have not knocked it out of the water, in my opinion, since the other white meat marketing thing. That was good. That was very good, but that was like 50 years ago. Here's the pork people. I'm going to throw this out here, $1 million deal. You guys could probably start this and make your money. Pork does not have that bar finger food thing. Like you get chicken strips, that sort of thing at a bar. You can't do that with the pork. I want like pork fingers. You'd have to find a better word for it. Maybe pork knuckles. I don't figure out the name, but something you could make, bread it a little bit, and have it at the bar. Tell me I'm wrong. I would order pork fingers well before chicken fingers, and of course you always got hamburger stuff. Am I wrong? Pork is missing on a big bar area.
You're not completely wrong, but let me tell you a little. There's a little history, a little more science for you, and Stunt will back me up on this. One of the reasons that the pork producers and association dropped the other white meat slogan is because if your pork chop is white, you've overcooked it horribly.
Yeah.
And there's an old stigma from, Al, you're old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember. And anybody older than us remembers that you always had to cook your pork all the way. You had to cook it till it's white. And that's because back in the day, pigs were fed whatever was left. They'll eat anything and they'll devour it. They're like goats. And so because of all the garbage and the trash they ate, that made them acquire things like worms and bacteria and diseases. And then we butchered them on wooden tables and dirt floors. And so you had to cook the pork well enough to make sure that you didn't get sick.
Jake, you and I lived through it, okay?
I know.
Good enough for us, good enough for my kids. Get the boards back in here.
Well, we lived through it by eating dried out pork chops. Did your grandma or your mom put gravy and different things on top of the pork chop? You know why? Because it was dried out. So that's what ruined it. And we have to get people back on board with, hey, medium rare pork is delicious.
Yeah.
You don't overcook your pork. You don't have to worry about it. It's not, what is it, trigonometry or whatever that worm isn't a problem anymore.
Trigonometry is not a word, but you're saying that. I remember probably being 30 something, and going to a restaurant, ordering a pork chop, and found it to be the greatest thing I've ever eaten in my life because it wasn't cooked through like my mother and my grandmother made. It was medium rare. It's like, this is what pork can taste like? This stuff's amazing. I remember that. We did cook the heck out of it back in the day. Now, real quickly, things we're talking about here. Stunt, you brought up you have somebody coming on from the Pork Council or something on your show?
Yep. Well, her name's Pam. She joins us every October.
Okay. For folks who don't know, I mean, you guys are radio guys, but your barbecue show, your podcast, she's on that, right? And how do I get that? I guess my point is we're not going to have her on this program. Sorry.
She's not going to join us here,
Yeah. So how did the folks get to hear that? Way to promote other stuff. I appreciate that, Jake. Really nice. Yeah. So how do they get it?
The BBQ show, the barbecue show, is going to be every single weekend. It airs on our great radio stations, including KTOE. And then also, it's available for podcast the very next morning. So you can find it in any place you go podcasting. You'll find the barbecue show, the BBQ show.
And that's roughly an hour-long podcast?
30 minutes.
Okay. So the 30 minutes, you're going to do the entire month all on pork? Are you guys dedicated to the pork enough to do?
It'll be a topic a few different times. It won't be the whole month, but.
All right.
We're
We'll
going
be
to have
back.
our wives on actually once this month, too, coming up. The wives edition.
We hung it. Oh, the wives edition is something you don't want to miss.
I was going to say, I do want to find out when that is. Let me know when you guys do that one, because that'd be now from the wives. Well, we got to get into the break. When we come back, I'm going to find out what their wives actually think about these two guys being this hooked into one thing like grilling. We'll be back after this.
You need a friend at the Capitol who knows how to get things done.
And you're in luck, because that's exactly who we are, your friends at the Capitol, and we deliver results.
At Momentum Advocacy, we bring decades of experience in lobbying, public affairs, and crisis communications.
From local nonprofits to national corporations, we help you move policy, manage your media, and make your voice heard.
We're not just seasoned pros, we're essential partners.
Momentum Advocacy, your friends at the Capitol. Learn more at momentum-advocacy.com.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
We got him, Jake and Stunt Monkey from The Barbecue Show. Get them wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to them on a lot of great radio stations across the state here. Gentlemen, so pork month, if you're going to describe to a beginner how you cook pork differently than, say, beef, you get a brisket, slow all day, baby, let that hang on there. How is it different for pork or chicken? Tell me how you've got to do pork a little differently, if it is.
I would say it's not.
Yeah.
It's not different.
It depends on the cut. That's
Yeah,
what it comes down to. I mean, a smaller piece of beef is going to take a little bit of time. A big piece of pork butt's going to take a long time. Depends how much smoke you want to put on it, and depends what you're actually cooking. I would also recommend starting with ribs, because ribs are are fun and they're cheaper than dropping $30 on something that you might end up messing up at the end. Both are pretty forgiving, though. I think we can agree. Pork butts, especially, are very forgiving. If you're going to do a pork butt, your first chance at pulled pork here in October, why not do it? Just be aware that it's you might make a little bit of a mistake or something, but it's also pretty forgiving in how you do it. So.
The advantage to low and slow is that the forgiveness factor, I think, is a great way to go. The nice thing about starting with a pork butt is, like Stunt mentioned, if you've never done a lot of pork before, a lot of smoking, it's an inexpensive way to get into it. You're making a 6, 7, 8 pound roast, and then you've got pulled pork. You can freeze it. You can reuse it for other things, and we've talked about that with some of our leftover shows. But a pig, much like a cow, has different cuts. The reason when you see seasoning at the grocery store and it says steaks and chops on the seasoning is because that's that kind of a cut. So you're going to cook a pork chop the same way you're going to cook a steak. You're going to cook a roast the same way you're going to cook, a pork butt or a Boston butt, if you will. So it just depends.
What about bone-in? How does the bone, whether you're doing a bone-in pork chop or bone-in your steak, how does that affect the cook time? Does it cook closer to the bone, hotter? What does the bone-in do for a barbecue?
Well, it slows the process. I think it's a nice. What am I trying to say? It's a piece of forgiveness in there because the bone will. You would think the bone would get hot and absorb heat and cook closer. It's just the opposite. The bone stays colder through most of the cook, which means, and I'm sure you've seen that where you have maybe a steak or some other big roast, and as you get closer to the bone, even on a pork chop, you get right up against the bone, and the meat isn't as done as it is on the outside. So what it does is it gives you a little bit more of a conduit to not overcook it quite as easily. I think it's nice because it does add that there's some extra flavor, some extra roast stuff that comes out of there. Things like your bone marrow and different, that part of it is, just unbeatable.
That's where I was going to go. I think you get the ham. Same thing with ham. You get the bone-in ham. It adds more flavor to your meat. When you cook it all together, it just really comes together better.
If you've got a bone in there, that you definitely want to give yourself extra time. A good rule of thumb, if you're doing like say a Boston butt, or a pork shoulder, and you're going to do pulled pork with the bone in, and you want to go low and slow, like 225 on your temp. You want to figure an hour and a half to 2 hours per pound for that smoke. Now, never go based on time. Always go based on temp. But the reason I say that is sometimes guys get into a pork butt and they don't realize, like, I put it on at 8 this morning and it's, and they're like, but now it's dinner time and it's not ready. No, an 8 pound, 7 pound pork butt is going to take you, the better part of 7-8 hours, if not longer, to cook. So you want to make sure you plan for that accordingly. And you'd rather have it rest longer than have to wait,
Yeah. The temperature thing, and you can always look online what you want your temps to be. I get that. But if you don't have, I guess the Traeger started this whole thing, you plug it in and you can check leave it in there and just check the temp on the side gaugey thing there. If you don't have that, how slow are you slowing this up? Little ADHD going on here before I got this thing. I'm in there every 15, 20 minutes poking the darn thing with another meat thermometer. I know! Don't look at me. Oh,
tell him.
You're not going to let me play anymore, are you?
No. When you're looking, you're not cooking. That's the problem.
Every time you lift that lid, you start the cooking process over. You lose all your heat and you have to start over. And then you lose things like bark. You lose things like moisture. You lose things like flavor. Again, a pork butt's going to take hours and hours and hours. Let it go. Don't worry about it. You don't have to check that thing for temp. And first of all, put a probe in it with a wire that comes out so you can check that. Second of all, if you do need to open it and look at it, or you want to spritz it or make sure it's doing okay, I wouldn't do that for the first 3 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the 4 hour mark, I might peek in there real quick just to see what's going on. But when you get dried out bigger pieces of meat, it's because people have been opening the lid, and then it has to start over. And remember also, and John, just from your meat standpoint, but when you open the lid of your grill, your smoker, your whatever, and all of your heat goes out, and then you shut the lid, and now it was at 225, now it's at 165. Guess what the thermostat just told the cook box?
Gotta hit her up.
Boom, and now your heat's going to come way up. And then it's going to have to come back down and settle, and that's all temperature fluctuations, which can mess with which messes with your meat, and you don't want that out. That's bad.
It's so weird. I've known you guys for a few years now, and I don't think I've ever seen that nasty of a look as when I said I opened it up.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
God,
don't do that.
the judgment that came out of the two of you was amazing. That's why we're doing the show, to teach the rest of us. Oh, my God. All right, we got to fly. We're out of time. Back to the barbecue show. Where do I get it? How do I get it? What radio station's on? Where do I find it on the interweb? What do I got to do?
That's right. We're in, locally in KTOE in Mankato, wherever you might be finding us. We're on in Owatonna. We're on in Fairmont and New Ulm as well, and all some great radio stations, and online anytime on your favorite podcast. All of our shows are podcasted at the BBQ Show. The BBQ Show. Just find it on your podcast platforms.
I love it. Appreciate you guys coming on. I really do.
Thanks for having us, Al.
Remind me when the wives are on. I would love to hear a part of that. I want to absolutely hear that, the wives version of. All right, we're back with more right after this.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something